Show me the money. Let's say you have filtered the candidates for your team and settled on the people you would most like to join you on your quest if they are as good as you think they are. Then other people would probably like to hire them as well. This is where things can get competitive. Of course, everyone has needs, hopes, and dreams and looks to a good job to help fulfill them. Everyone wants a better life. They may want to send their children to better schools. They may seek a certain level of physical comfort or wish to support others in their lives. Who can blame someone for basing a big part of their personal value on their ability to command a competitive salary? Indeed, it often costs substantial money to snare the greatest people. So how do you reconcile the need to hire the very best with the need to be careful with your budget? I'll address this issue at length in Chapter 7. Honey is money. But in the meantime, I urge you to think about hiring the greatest as an investment, a source of value creation, rather than as a cost. Why? Because of fixation on cost. Something I've often seen in business is limited, inside-the-box thinking. It leads to poor investments in people who cannot do the job. Wrong hires turn out to be incredibly costly. Such people disrupt and drag down the team. They are expensive to remove and expensive to replace. Point 4. In NGOs, I've observed a similarly limiting mindset that keeps leaders from going after great talent. We receive limited funds and must steward them carefully, goes the logic. And in public service, I discovered a similarly defeatist outlook. One that assumes a limited bureaucratic scope. People say things like, there's no budget, or, this is beyond our mandate. The omnipreneurial mindset, by contrast, suggests that talent is an investment that continually generates more and better resources. That's why, in all my preneurships, whether business, family, government, or philanthropy, I go the extra distance to invest in and secure the best talent I can find. The benefits have been many, but the greatest is this. Backed by strong people, I can free up my time to focus on what I can do to best move us forward. At SAGIA, we had one of the smallest budgets of all the government agencies. Despite that, we succeeded in attracting people from some of the world's largest and most successful companies, including Procter & Gamble and Unilever, as well as from some local giants such as Aramco, the Saudi Arabian oil company. In the latter case, the recruit came with a price and a lesson. In my early tenure at SAGIA, I came across an executive from Aramco who was finishing up his MBA at Stanford University. He was young, ambitious, smart, and a finance whiz. I thought he would be ideal to lead the finance department of SAGIA. But he was already working for Aramco. I approached the Minister of Oil, who at the time was also the chairman of Aramco, with a request for secondment. That is, a request that this young man be temporarily freed to work in the agency. I thought that since Aramco was state-owned, it would be an easy matter to accommodate my request. The minister laughed out loud. If we were to accommodate all requests for secondment we receive, there would be no people left at Aramco. He replied. But he was serious. Aramco is a company that invests heavily in developing its human resources. I pressed the minister, and he offered a deal. If SAGIA were willing to pay the costs Aramco had invested in educating this candidate at one of the finest business schools in the world, they would grant an exception. At the time, the cost of a Stanford MBA was roughly $150,000. I agreed. I spoke to the chief executive officer of Aramco, Abdullah Juma, and briefed him about the discussion with the minister. Perhaps in an attempt to call my bluff, Juma sent an invoice to SAGIA. Despite the high cost, I requested that a check be issued within 48 hours. What Juma didn't know was this. Thanks to a public-private partnership that I'll describe in more detail later, SAGIA was able to offer salary and benefits packages that were competitive with the private sector. which is how we were able to attract people from the business world. At the investment authority, we'd been very proactive in securing funds to make a winning offer. We adapted our business model to charge for fast-track services to investors. See Chapter 8. Delight the stakeholder. This fast-tracking came at a premium, and it allowed us to use these funds to invest in more expensive talent. We never regretted the decision. The young man we hired became a star and ended up heading the company that is the master developer for one of the economic cities. See Chapter 12. Imagine the next big thing.